Lesson 62, graphing solutions to inequalities on a number line. First off, let's review what an inequality is. An inequality is just a statement where both sides are not equal. And so you're going to use these comparison symbols. You have the greater than symbol, you have a less than symbol, you have the greater than or equal to symbol, you have the less than or equal to symbol. And there's also another one, does not equal. So anything that does not equal on both sides are inequalities. And you can see when we're graphing these right now, it's going to be on a number line, and you have different kinds of circles. If it's greater than or less than, you have open circles like these. If it's got the equal to part with it, then you got filled in circles like these bottom two. And the arrow just goes towards the direction that you are looking for the number. So if it's less than always goes to the left. So just think that less than means left. And I just looked at, they both have L's to start off with, so think of the left. Greater than means to the right. So the bigger numbers are always to the right on a number line. So let's look at an example here. Christina is thinking of a number. If she doubles the number, the product is greater than 4. Write an inequality for this description, and then graph on a number line all the possible choices for Christina's number. So she's thinking of a number, so I'm going to use n. And if she doubles the number, it means times 2. The product, so 2 times n, is greater than 4. That is my inequality right there. And so now we would have to simplify to solve so we can find out what are all the possible choices you can have. So the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. So I need to get the variable by itself. 2n divided by 2 is just n. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So any number greater than 2 would be Christina's number. So on a number line, instead of putting all the numbers, I'm just going to put the one number that they have listed here. I'm going to put a 2 here. Since it's greater than, it doesn't equal, so I need to have an open circle. Greater than means I have to go to the right. So every number greater than 2 could be Christina's possible number. Next one, solve and graph the solution of this inequality. So I'm going to rewrite this. So 3x plus 1 is less than or equal to 7. Now, just because we have a symbol here, it doesn't say equals to, you still solve it the same way. This one is a two-step process. So we need to get 3x by itself. I don't want this plus 1. So the opposite of plus 1 is subtracting 1 on both sides. And you have 3x is less than or equal to 6. And then to get x by itself, the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. And I do that on both sides. And I have x is less than or equal to 2. So I grab my number line. And then my number is just going to be 2, because that's what I have here. It has the equal to part, so I need to have an filled in circle on 2. It says it's got to be less than or equal to it, so it's got to go to the left. So this would be my answer with the inequality, and then there you can see my graph for that inequality. A couple other problems here. Alicia has a number in mind. If she adds 3 to her number, the result is less than 5. Use this information to write and solve an inequality about Alicia's number, then graph the solution set. So if she has a number in mind, we don't know, so that's her variable. If she adds 3 to her number, so plus 3, the result is less than 5. So I'm just using what they're telling me. Less than tells me to use the less than symbol. So there's my inequality. That is to solve it. So the opposite of adding 3, I subtract 3. And I'm left with n is less than 2. grab my number line here, write a 2 here. It's just less than, so it's an open circle. Less than means to the left. So I have my inequality and I have my graph. The one on the right here, solve and graph the solution to this inequality. So I'm going to write it down here. 7 is less than or equal to x minus 8. I need to get x by itself. The opposite of subtracting 8 is adding 8. So I add 8 to both sides. I have 15 is less than or equal to x. Now when I graph this, be careful the direction that you put it in. Okay, so it's got the equal to sign in here, so filled in circle. You should always, when you're trying to figure out which direction you should put the arrow, start from the variable and read it from that direction. So x is greater than or equal to 15. So greater than or equal to 15 has to go to the right. Now a common mistake would be, well, it says it's less than or equal to, so I have to go to the left. But because the variable is on the right-hand side, you have to read it backwards. Read it always from the variable. X is greater than or equal to 15. Sample problem 3. Vincent goes to the store with $20 to buy a notebook for $4. He notices that packages of notebook paper are on sale for $2. Write and solve an inequality to show the number of packages of notebook paper he could buy if he also buys the notebook, ignoring sales tax. Then graph the solution. So he goes to the store with $20 to buy a notebook for $4. And he notices that he can buy packages of notebook paper that are on sale for $2. So I'm going to start off with $2 packages of notebook, but we don't know how many packages he can buy. So I'm going to put a variable n. Plus, he is buying the notebook for $4. All of that has to be less than or equal to $20 because he only has $20 to spend. So the max he can do is $20. So there's my inequality. I need to solve for that one. So I'm going to subtract 4. I have 2n is less than or equal to 16. Last step, divide by 2 on both sides. I have an inequality as n is less than or equal to 8. So he can buy up to 8 packages of notebook paper. So now I just graph it. I have the equal to part, so it can equal 8. It's got to be less than or equal to 8. So there's my inequality and graph. And there's space over here if you need to do that. I just put it all on this side here. And a couple more problems here. Jan is participating in a 6-mile run walk for charity. If she completes the course and runs at least half the distance, then what inequality shows how far she might walk? Graph the inequality. So she's participating in a 6-mile run walk for charity. So the second statement says if she completes the course and runs at least half. So I'm going to say if she runs at least half, that means it has to be greater than or equal to 3. It cannot be less than 3 because she runs at least 3. But the question is saying how far might she walk? So if she runs at least 3, that means she walks less than or equal to 3. Because if she runs 3 miles, then she has to walk 3 miles. If she runs more than 3 miles, she's going to walk less than 3 miles. So this would be our inequality. To graph it, put a 3 here. It has the less than or equal to, so filled in circle to the left. Next one, solve and graph the solution to this inequality. So 3 is less than or equal to x minus 2. Need to get x by itself, so add 2 to both sides. I have 5 is less than or equal to x. To graph it, 5 down I have to read it backwards. X is greater than or equal to 5. So it has to go to the right, bigger than 5. And I can always check my answer. If I put in, since this would be 6, if I put a 6 in for X, 6 is greater than or equal to 5. So that's a quick way of checking your answer there. And our last two questions. Solve and graph the solution to this inequality. So the opposite of multiplying by 4, I divide by 4. So X has to be greater than a -3. So graph it, -3 here. It's got just the greater than symbol, so open circle, greater than means to the right. Next one, solve and graph this one. I subtract 1 first on both sides, and I get 6x is greater than or equal to a -6. Divide by 6 on both sides. I have x is greater than or equal to a -1. Graph it, -1 here. It's got the equal to part, so filled in circle, greater than to the right. And this last one here, I add 5 to both sides. So now I have 2x is less than or equal to 8. Opposite of multiplying by 2 is divide by 2. So x is less than or equal to 4. Write my number line, put a 4 down. Since it's got the equal to parts, I know it's a filled in circle. Less than means to the left. So that is our lesson today on graphing solutions to inequalities on a number line.